Arthur China T, Coach Erica, and this is episode 6 of Never Date Just One, sis. Okay, so we've talked about quite a few topics since we began this journey. We've talked about the current state of the dating game, getting past old drama, healing that drama. We've talked about what roster dating is. We talked about not putting all your eggs in one basket and learning how to explore your options. We've talked about several things up until this point. So now we're going to talk about the base. Before you can jump out there and say, I'm going to be doing roster dating and all this stuff, you have got to have the flat line groundwork already done. Healing is a part of it. That comes with the self-evaluation. That also comes with your needs assessment. So we've already accomplished the healing, the self-evaluation, and the needs assessment. Now we need to move to the next state. What is that? You got to increase your self-love, sis. It is no way that you're going to be able to go out there and convince a roster full of men to date you, give you value, and all of these things if you don't love yourself. It's going to be easy to pick up on. And the ones who pick up on the lack of self-love will use it to their advantage, which means they will start using your love language against you to get the things that they need to be able to achieve what they need to do. And more times than not, that is just getting you on your back and having sex with you. For men, sex is an experience. And it's the only thing exclusive to a man is the new experience of new sex with a new woman. That's it. There is nothing that's exclusive to a man. So sex is only an experience. It's not something they're going to emotionally bind to. So sis, if you are out here just giving up sex, thinking that you're not going to lock him in if you don't have sex with him soon enough, you're not going to keep his attention if you're not giving up the goods. If you are giving goods to somebody who already just from the beginning has no value in you, then you're already wasting time. And let me just tell you what's going to happen. One or two things. You're going to be giving him sex. He has no value to you. But guess what? He's not going to turn you away. And he's not going to tell you no. He's just going to keep accepting a hassle-free sex. It doesn't come with a lot of, requirements. So he's going to keep taking with you. He's going to hold you in space. He may keep you for 6 months or the next 6 years. And you still won't be somebody he's going to marry. There is no value. That's the one side of things. The other side of things, he could just have sex with you and then move on because that's all he wanted to do was experience sex with a different woman. That man may be married, may be single, maybe whatever the case is, he's just going to get that sex one time with you and it's not worth him continuing to hassle with you. So that's where we are right now, sis. The basis, you got to love yourself. If you do not love yourself, dating on a roster is going to be very complicated because you're going to find yourself liking too many of your people that you're dating too soon, too fast, giving them too much just for you to end up back in the same place, running nowhere fast, and you picked up speed. So when you're out here roster dating, sis, juggling multiple folks can become overwhelming. When you're trying to get down to that one guy that's for you, you can have all of these different guys and just be feeling like you're so overwhelmed when you don't love yourself, okay? Self-love is going to keep you grounded while you are roster dating. Because guess what? You're going to know your standards. You're going to already set your boundaries. You're going to have your limitations. There is nothing that's going to be able to change how you feel about yourself. No matter if that man like you or not, you already know you're not sleeping with him. You already know that he can't tell you nothing about you. He can't tell you how you look. He can't criticize you for nothing dealing with your physical. You know why? Because you already are comfortable with yourself enough to tell you have loved yourself enough to whenever somebody says anything, that stuff rolls off you and you keep moving. Self-love. It is going to be the basis, the catalyst for you to be able to have a healthy roster full of men that you are dating who are not using your love language against you and getting you to overextend yourself where they're not extending themselves at all. Self-love is going to open your eyes for you to catch things, red flags that will be missed. If you keep going into this not loving yourself, you're going to miss the red flags. You're going to miss that he really don't like you like that. He just not into you, sis. You'll miss that if you don't love yourself. Because when you love yourself, you have standards. You know what it's going to require for you to love. You know what you want. Now you know what you need. Remember, we did our needs assessment already. You know what you need. So with the self-love, if he's not giving you, fulfilling your needs, then you have to move around him. That's what self-love is. Let's go back to Tammy's story. We talked about Tammy's story when she got love bombed from Devin. She met Devin on a dating app. They had a great connection, a couple of, chats, and they had a couple of phone conversations. Tammy thought they was going somewhere. They moved on to a physical date. The date went well. They ended up drinking and smoking. Tammy had a great old time, and then she ended up having sex with Devin on the first night. Devin appreciated it. So guess what he did? He saw that the little things that he did for Tammy meant something, so he started doing more of those things. As the weeks went by, he started giving Tammy more. Tammy started having sex with him more. Tammy thought that this relationship was going somewhere, so she started making plans for dates, trips to meet family, all type of stuff. And guess what? Devin was not interested in that, because Devin was only there to get what Tammy had already given him without effort. So now, once Tammy started trying to increase her efforts and her emotions, Devin tapped out because he was no longer, that's not what he wanted. He left Tammy right there. So she had hurt feelings, a wet cooch, and she was left in the same place that Devin had picked her up at. So now, let's go back to Tammy's story. What is she doing now? So now that Tammy's realizing that she lacked self-love, she lacked standards, she didn't know what she needed, so she couldn't possibly expect somebody else to love her if she did not know how to exemplify what loving her looks like. How could she expect somebody else to love her? She didn't love herself. That's evident in how she allowed Devin to take her down on the first night. Okay? So after going through the emotional roller coaster of being ghosted by Devin, Tammy knew it was time to pump the brakes and focus on herself before she jumped back into dating. Why? Because Tammy has just realized she is lacking self-love. So now she has to sit back after her needs assessment, after her self-evaluation, and say, hey, Tammy, what could you do different to show the world that you love yourself? How are you going to make me believe that you love yourself? She jumped back into everything that made her feel alive. She started hitting up the trails, taking walks for fresh air. She started whipping up these great tasty meals, taking herself to dinner, eating by herself, spending time with herself. She started learning how to do art, create art, doing great classes. She started doing journaling. She even considered going to therapy. She even did a couple of therapy sessions. These are all the things that she did to increase her self-love before she put herself back out there so she does not run into any other Devins, because she has already been tripped up, used up, sexed up, and thrown to the side. She's tired of that. So Tammy is doing everything to increase her self-love. So, through her journaling, she learned more about herself. She became comfortable with herself. She started noticing things about herself that she learned to love. She also started noticing things that she needed to change. That's what happens when you journal, because you be able to get out your unfiltered thoughts on paper and just for you to read. So if that's not an evaluation in itself, I don't know what is. Okay? She began to recognize her romantic needs. When I said that needs assessment, she missed her needs. But now, through this process of her relearning who she is and loving herself again, now she realizes she has romantic needs that she would like to be met, like needing a dude who respects her independence, but also somebody who respects being dependent, who respects being there for her. So she wants somebody who respects her independence, but also wants her to rely on them because they want to be there for her. She realized that she also wants somebody to match her energy and her effort. She also wants somebody who can hold a real conversation. People get tired of what you're doing, how you're doing, all those baseless conversations. People want to talk about the real stuff. There's a need for that. That is a need that goes unfulfilled in many relationships, because people don't know how to tell others that they need to be able to talk. They need to have real dialogue, okay? So that's when so after she did all of that, and she was able to realize that, hey, I can do this now. Let me jump back in. She learned about roster dating. So the ideal of dating multiple people at one time, Tammy thought initially was going to be a big weight to carry, because she remembered what it was like when she was dealing with one person. But also in that interacting with one person, Tammy also remembered that the one person she was dealing with was not the person for her. You see where I'm going with this? See, she is trying to supplement new experiences and replace them with old experiences. That's why she's feeling overwhelmed, trying to figure out how can she date multiple people when she remembered dating Devin and it was just one person, and she remembered how she felt afterward. That's because she went in too fast, too soon, and rushed to sex. We're not doing that right now. So when you take sex off your mind and you look at everything that you need to look at that is beyond the surface level, then you're going to be able to start seeing exactly what I'm saying. You figured yourself out. Abstaining from sex will not run nobody off, nor will the weight of talking to multiple people make you feel weighed down. You have to remove sex though. You can't have, if sex is gonna be the catalyst for how you connect with somebody, then you're always gonna be on a losing end. Get that out of the way. Remove the sex, okay? All right, so now that she's considered roster dating, she's ready to jump back into the dating. And so now we're gonna talk about building her roster. All right, so in building the foundation of roster dating, whenever we try to get to the one, we cannot get to the one if it's one person. How can you know if that's the best man for you, if that's the only man that you're dealing with? If that's the only man that you've dated for the last 5 years, you're going to say this is the best man for you. Meanwhile, he knows that you're not the best woman for him. He still exercises his right to have options. You stopped having options when you met him. You gave him sex. Y'all had a couple of great experiences, and now you think y'all going somewhere. So you cut off all your other options, and you think this the best man for you. So now you think he the one, but he doesn't think that you're the one. Matter of fact, he's never thought that you're the one. He's literally going with the flow day by day. You put all your eggs in one basket. He has one egg in your basket. He has several other baskets he has eggs in. Because he still doesn't know if you're going to be her for him. That's because he loves himself. Because you lack self-love, you already think that he's the one for you. You don't love yourself, and he's able to pick up on it. So he's going to make a decision. Either he's going to use it to his advantage and be able to use you in a way that you never imagined, or he's going to walk away because it might be too much dealing with you. No man wants to deal with a woman who does not have self-esteem, who lacks self-love. But they will deal with that woman on a sexual basis only because she's going to be easy to give her sex without a hassle because she lacks self-love and she doesn't know her self-worth. Self-love ain't just a trendy phrase. I know y'all have heard it all over the internet. Especially during those times when they was pushing out all those healing on TikTok and y'all was rushing over there to go get all these healing guys, and a lot of y'all are still in the same place y'all was before y'all picked up the healing guy because you don't love yourself and you never apologize to yourself, okay? So self-love is not a trendy phrase. It is the heart and soul of how you roll with others, how you see yourself in the dating game, and how you're going to teach others how to love you and respect you. It starts with you. How you treat yourself is going to tell people how to treat you. If you are disrespecting yourself by passing yourself around to multiple men who are not putting in any effort, and other men can see that they don't have to put in any effort, then you just taught them how to treat you. Do not get mad when you get with him and you want to go on dates, but he saw the other dude before you take you on no dates and you were still there for him. He's not going to take you on dates. Why? Because you didn't show him that's how you want to be treated. Nor did you take yourself on dates to show them that's how you treat yourself. Okay? Stop thinking that self-love is a phrase or a movement. It's your life. Without self-love, it's gonna be impossible for you to have convince somebody else that you're worth being loved or being valued. All right, now let's go back to Tammy. She decided to jump back into this roster dating after getting her heart played with. Instead of pouring all of her energy into one dude, Tammy was ready to explore her options. She knew that she was a prize. She knew that she could come to the table empty-handed with just her to the table and be of so much value. Okay? She started to realize that. She knew that, so she was ready. One of the biggest wins for Tammy on her self-love journey was how she shaped her choices. She stopped feeling like she had to settle. Let me say that again. She stopped feeling like she had to settle just because somebody showed interest, and she stopped putting up with anything that anybody showed her because she did not have values. Now that she has standard, now that she has boundaries, now that she has limitations, the values have increased. Her self-value has increased. So therefore her self-worth and her self-love has increased. She will no longer accept what she accepted before. Now you have to come correct. And if you don't, you will be easily removed from the roster. No remorse, no doubling back. We do not spin the block when we roster date. Okay? So let's talk about the key lessons from Tammy's self-love journey. First and foremost, she prioritized self-care. The best way to show others that you love yourself is through self-care. What does that mean? Self-preservation. Taking yourself on dates. Dressing up. Looking good for yourself. Going places with yourself. Learning how to sit in a room with yourself. Self-care. Go and do something to your physical. Take yourself on a cruise, a solo cruise. Self-care is everything about you, not your children, not your friends, not your family. You want me to love you how you want to be loved? You have to show me that you've loved yourself in that manner. If I'm unable to see where you love yourself, how you expect me to love you, I'm going to love you in the same way I see you loving yourself. And it's not going to be in the same way. Prioritize self-care. If you want him to get your nails done, he has to see you doing it for yourself. How can he feel comfortable with paying for something for you that he doesn't see you doing for yourself? If you want to see him to take you shopping, let him see you take yourself shopping. Show him the new outfits that you bought yourself so he can feel, so you can say, if you had bought these things, imagine how I would look in them. See how you just put it back on him? Self-love, okay? Recognize your worth. We just talked about that. The lack of self-worth. If you do not value yourself, how can I value you? How can the world value you? The value starts within, okay? Knowing your worth is everything when you're out here dating around, because it's super easy to get caught up in validation for your dates, right? Dates telling you you're beautiful and all these things of that nature. But the moment one of them who you told you that you were beautiful, the one that you like, tells you that they don't like you or drops you like a bad habit, then you start feeling bad. Now you don't recognize your worth anymore. Now you start feeling worthless. Absolutely not. We're not going to do that. People are on the roster are going to fall off as time goes by. Allow them to fall off. That's exactly what they wanted to do, fall off. Because the people who want to be there with you will still be there. Okay? Love yourself first. Now, I know a lot of times y'all like to put everybody before y'all kids, y'all parents, everything, the cat, the dog, everything. If you do that, trust me, the person who you dating is going to pick up on that. So if the person you dating pick up on that, you're going to put them before you put yourself, they're going to run amok on you. But they supposed to, because I would. People can see that they can't come before me. They call me selfish. It's self-preservation. In me self-preserving, there is nobody on earth that comes before me, not even children. I have to put me first. Because when I put me first, then the rest of the world knows that I'm of value and they have to take me serious. I can't put you before me. I wouldn't even put my own kids before me. That's just not logical. Love yourself first. When you start loving other things and putting other people before you, people will use it against you. Keep your needs first. Oh my God, I hear people say all the time, I put my stuff to the side and I did for them what they need. Don't put your needs to the side for another human, ever. That's crazy. I don't care. That definitely shows that you cannot love yourself if you are willing to put your needs on hold to make sure the needs of others are met. That does not make any sense, and that shows that you do not love yourself. I cannot make sure you eat. I need to eat. If there was one last meal and it was between me and you, it'll be me, because I will be eating my food because you will never eat before me. Like this is the last meal on earth. And one of us gonna pass if we don't eat it. And we gotta eat all of it, we can't share. Sharing won't be enough. So I gotta choose between me and you. I'm gonna choose me. It has nothing to do with you. I just gotta choose me. So you gotta put your needs first. Putting the needs of others first is gonna have you always being used and ran over. Okay? Self-love is important for keeping boundaries in check. If you don't love yourself, there is no way that you can have deal breakers or boundaries, because you won't know what they are. If you don't know what your needs are, you won't have deal breakers or boundaries. And what does that mean? You will begin to settle and accept anything just to have anyone. That's what we're not trying to do with Never Date Just One. That's why you have to go back into this with self-love through the roof, self-worth through the roof, boundaries there, limitations there, standards won't budge. That is the definition. That is what self-love looks like to those that you're going to date. Those are the ones who are going to want to date you for the long term, because guess what? Every man loves a woman with big confidence who they don't have to build. However, men will still hunch on the woman with no confidence because that's less hassle. So that is our lesson for today. Self-love through the roof. Without it, you will not be successful in roster dating. Your roster will be able to get over on you because they'll be able to to pick up on your weaknesses and your worthlessness really quickly. So build your self-worth, build your self-love, self-preserve, put yourself first. That is the basis for self-love. We'll be back tomorrow with another lesson. You have a great evening.